How's it going, guys? Dylan from Luxury Lives On, and I hope everyone's doing well today. Today is another installment of my new series, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, where I take a look at high-mileage luxury cars. Because, well, no one knows what the hell happens when you drive them. In our first video, I took a look at our BMW i8 at 40,000 miles, the Rolls-Royce Phantom at 50,000 miles, and now, incrementally so, we've gone to my beloved Aston, which has just hit 60,000 miles, believe it or not. Now guys, a lot of you like this series because, well, you've been able to figure out what these cars are like when they're actually driven. So today I'm going to tell you all the good, the bad, and the ugly about the Aston Martin Vantage. Hey Aston, how you doing? I've been wanting to have a chat with you for a while. Now, I know you don't like to talk about your miles, but you're kind of getting up there. Whoa, but before you interrupt, you know, I want to recommend that maybe we look at some nice garages to take you to, where they'll take better care of you than I can. Well, aren't you going to say anything? Look, I get it. This is a bit of a shock to you. And I wanted to bring it up earlier, but I mean, you couldn't have possibly thought I could just take care of you forever. You know, you are a bit high maintenance and you're only going to get worse as you get older. It's not that you're a burden or anything, but let me just finish before you interrupt, okay? Look, don't think of these as old car homes. Think of them as car resorts. I mean, you'll get annual oil and filter changes, and they'll even give you an occasional detail. Just think on it. Can we talk about this later? I mean, you've barely touched your teeth. Come on, Aston. There you go. Alright guys, so to start we're going to look at the good, bad, and ugly things on the exterior. Although that's a bit contradictory because that last word doesn't apply. This thing is anything but ugly. In fact, it's unbelievably gorgeous. Aston Martin uses a perfect ratio when they're designing all of their cars in the studio, and I think this is probably their best product. Mainly because it's curvaceous like most of them, and it's simple, which equals timeless. But I think this, compared to the lineup like a DB9, it's not as elongated, making it, I think, more resolved and prettier. But some of the great design elements that probably help with this is obviously that classic Aston Martin grille that roots back to, well, forever. You have the frameless windows, and you have those big hips, which is good on any car or lady. It's just a pretty car, and I have it in the graphite, well, so that it looks even classier and more cliche like the James Bond color. Now, as we often do on Good, Bad, Ugly, we shift from positive to negative rather rapidly. So we can go from the pretty looks of this car to the crappiness of its taillights. And no, I don't mean the taillights don't look good. Specifically, I like the clear ones, but they have a bit of a condensation issue, our favorite word.
Ellen, there's moisture on the outside of my glass.
It's condensation, Johnny.
But what about the fog on the windows?
It's not fog, Johnny. It too is called condensation.
Condensation.
You see, the housing sometimes separates from the lens itself, and when water gets in there, that starts to make things rather terrible. Now, this can happen either from just old age deterioration, it can happen from hitting a bump, or maybe that wasn't installed so well, but when it starts to leak in and it gets really bad, you can actually have puddles of water in the taillight, and what that means is you'll need a new one, which is, well, about 500 and up if you're lucky. A big problem with sports cars today is they're simply too low to drive around and enjoy. However, with the Aston Vantage, it's, well, perfect. It's low enough to look aggressive and high enough not to scrape on every bloody thing you drive over. So you end up not having to cross your fingers as long as you're responsible. I'm sorry, but you're wrong. You're wrong because I know what you're thinking. I just opened up the hood of an exotic, high-maintenance sports car. So you're thinking, well, all the problems have to be in the engine, but it's actually a really mechanically sound car. It's a 4.3 liter V8, close to 400 horsepower, and it's naturally aspirated, which is, well, really the fun part of it. In fact, apparently these things are hand built. Mine's got to be the best guy in the business because his name's the funniest. His name is Martin Haskell, almost like a play on words. If you're out there, Martin, great job. Looks very good. But honestly, it's a very, very fun car. The only issue is sometimes the belt actually makes a bit of a whining sound if it's cold and it's kind of getting a little weathered and needs to be changed. That's $700 to do. And I recommend you doing an upgraded one, not really the Aston Martin one, because they'll just keep breaking. And the other thing is the fuel pump, when you're starting it cold, will whine, very much like, well, many cars of this era. Now, one quick notable mention is that's not the original antenna. In fact, that's from a Mini because, well, the original one wasn't so mini. In fact, it was a giant long antenna that, well, made this car look like an RC car. In fact, all I was looking for is just the controller. Now, before we move to the interior of the car, well, the key that allows you to drive it isn't exactly from Aston Martin. Well, this part is, but the key fob itself is actually from a Volvo, the thing that locks and unlocks the car. And, well, if you were to peel off the fake leather that's covered over it, it actually will show you the Volvo logo. You see, Volvo helped partner with a few of the things on this car. And, well, we'll try to look past this one. Now, as we move inside, this will segue very nicely into my next point. You see, the struts that hold the doors in these cars notoriously fail. I'm on a hill a bit here, maybe to exaggerate it, but as you'll see right now, you have to get out of the way rather quickly. That was a close one. Alright, so I'm going to try to hold this door open with my leg to get it some light in here. But as we segue from Volvo keys, we can segue to Volvo GPSs because that's exactly what this has. Now, some would call it technology, others would not. And this is how you use it. Basically, you press this enter button here, and eventually it comes up. And also gets stuck. But nevertheless, it's good. All right. Nevertheless, it's pretty crappy. Many complain about this. It's almost the equivalent of, well, like 1980s video game graphics, I could say, to put it generously. And basically, you can barely make out some of the things on here. And it's just pretty bad graphics. It's out of date, obviously, because it's an older car. But apparently I was listening to a review recently and this thing, the journalist said, looked even out of date when the car came out. So, not a good start. Oh, and apparently we're in the middle of the ocean right now. That's never good.
Well done! Well done! Well done!
Now, funny enough, everything seems to be operated on here, and this is how you operate the only lights in the car, and they're pretty shocking. You press this button here, and you end up getting this type of lighting. They're not great, and not only that, they're being blocked by the rear view mirror, so you end up getting no illumination in here, like, whatsoever. Now, my favorite part about, like, the issues with the interior is this thing. There are literally like 10 things wrong with this visor alone. Now, the one problem is when you actually turn it naturally down towards you, you can't even see your face in it. It's also like a clown mirror, so it's distorted. It also has a big problem with delamination. In addition to that, this won't pull to the side and block the sun coming from this angle. There's no light built into it at night, and you would think you would have that in a luxury car, but you would have to use this crappy halogen light to do that. And, well, if you wanted to check the warning label to see, well, what happens when you crash the car, you can't, because you have to tuck your head underneath here. So what I've actually installed is this better warning sticker about ladies' undergarments. A really great thing about this car's interior is there's leather everywhere. This is a quality hand-built car, and everywhere, even behind the steering wheel here where you never have leather, it's leather. In the glove box, leather. It's just absolutely everywhere, except for you have to be very careful because, well, all of this leather up here specifically notoriously shrinks on the Aston Martins, and to replace this is, I mean, hundreds to thousands of dollars, because you actually have to get them customly made and sent to you from the UK. When they say glove box, surely they don't mean just gloves in the box, right? I mean, the one problem with this is it's minute, and this is where the manual is supposed to go. So allow me to demonstrate. You slide the manual in. All you commenters on YouTube can see it's slid in, and it simply will not close. No, this is how you do it. The guys at the dealership says you have to cork it, oh, god damn it, at an angle. Oh, Jesus, no, that's still not right. Hold on. All right, here. Almost 90 degrees. There we go. So there's nowhere really to keep anything in this car. All you can really do is, well, keep a glove in the glove box. Now, going on to storage, these are pretty much it. You have these side pockets. You can choose to, well, not put cups in your cup holder, which also sucks to store things. And there's nothing here because the manual transmission's here, and you don't really have any storage back here because, well, it's a two-seater and Aston Martin wanted to keep it short. So either you can take a passenger with you on a trip, or you can take your luggage. And in addition to that, that's where we can segue into, well, the trunk space. Now, as we go into that trunk space area, to open it, you have to press this very painful and precise button. It's like they're trying to deter you, saying, "Don't look at the trunk, please, please." Sorry, Aston. I have to show the people. And this is what you get. Now, what Aston says is they designed this car to look like a hatchback so that you would have more room because it's obviously a two-seater. About that. Does anyone else think I look like a sailor in this shirt? Anyway, all right guys, we've done exterior, we've done interior. Now let's drive the damn thing. Turning radius is very good. This is working out nicely. You can do it just in a normal two-lane street. Now guys, the point of this is not to give you a review as usual. I'm not a journalist. I'm not Jeremy Clarkson. I'm not Chris Harris. I'm just a guy with a high mild Aston Martin. And I'm going to tell you how it feels. And how it sounds. Let's start with that first. It's got a naturally aspirated V8, which is a recipe for things that sound good. So it's very much like a British muscle car, in the sense that it sounds like a muscle car. I love it, and it does not get old. The rev's very high too, which is pretty fun. Just over 7,000 RPM. It's a screamer. It doesn't move much, but it sounds unbelievable. It really does. I mean, it's not the fastest thing in the world, I'm going to be honest with you. So it's the 4.3 liter, as I said, so it's the V8, 4.3 liter, just under 400 horsepower. But because it's such a short wheelbase and relatively light car with a nice engine, it's very much like a luxurious Miata. But I mean, there's not really anything you can get on the market today. I mean, many people say, you know, well, you got an old Aston Martin, upgrade, get something else. I really don't know what would replace this. Now, one of the things is it's not the most practical car on planet Earth from a drivability point of view. And I say that because, well, the clutch specifically, it's a very hard, deep clutch to use, and, well, that's very taxing. It's almost like hammering a nail in every time you shift, which is fun and makes you feel manly and puts hair on your chest, except for, well, when you're doing that repetitively going through LA, you'd rather walk because it just hurts and it's just hard. It's not forgiving. It's not very loving. You know, you can either look like a zero or a hero in this car. You can see me stalling it in a parking lot and driving past you looking like I'm bloody James Bond. In fact, I have a funny relationship with this car. When I'm in it, I can't wait to get out over a long trip. But when I'm out of it, I crave getting in it. It's because it just drives so well. It's alive. It sounds amazing. It handles amazingly. And when you have the room to do it, and you're not in traffic, there's nothing like it. Hard on the brakes. Hard on the brakes. Well, here we are, Aston. The best senior car care facility in the world. And I have to say, things have never felt this real. I never thought I'd give you to someone else so that they could care for you. I've always been the one that was used to, well, taking care of all your ailments and broken parts. You know what, Aston, I can't do this. I can't give you to someone else. You see, you're irreplaceable. Old school car feel just isn't around anymore. The visceral feel of driving a naturally aspirated manual, even with 60,000 miles, is irreplaceable. I'll put some savings aside and I'll take care of you. Let's put another 60,000 miles on you, huh? Oh. What the hell? Did you really break down? Are you serious? After all those nice things I just said? Screw it. Putting you in a home. Guys, that is it. The good, the bad, and the ugly about our Aston Martin V8 Vantage. Now, I hope you guys found the video funny, informative, fun, whatever you want to call it, but we have a bit of a problem. You see, we're running out of our own high-mile luxury cars, so I'm asking any of my viewers, if you have a high-mile luxury car in the San Diego, Orange County, or LA region, reach out to me on Instagram or whatever it may be, at Luxury Lives On, because I'd love to do some more content and share with the people, well, what to expect with these luxury cars when you actually enjoy them. Guys, if you want to follow me on more things, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook under Luxury Lives On. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you want to see more of my content, please do subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.